Hey, everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, the show where we review pop culture's newest releases. And this week we head over to Hulu for a new release on streaming about a movie that came out towards the end of last year. And we were thinking about catching it, but it went so fast in the theaters, we didn't have the chance. So we are
Also,
reviewing.
it was like the worst movie times I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
Like
yeah, they were weird. They're like, was it super
In
early or
the
super late?
morning.
Yeah, it was like
In
super
the
super early.
morning.
early,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like 11:30 p.m. on like during the day, or I'm sorry, during the week, and then like 2 p.m. It's like no who goes to see this movie? No one goes to see this movie.
It's a real pain.
Yeah.
We had more showing than you guys, but that's just us being special. All right. So the movie we are talking about is A Real Pain. It is written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring him and Kieran Culkin. So they play two cousins that are raised almost like brothers. And they were sent some money from their grandmother who had just recently passed away, and she was a Polish Jew, and she sent them some money to go and find out about their heritage. So they kind of joined this heritage tour, led by this Englishman, and there's there's like a couple who's older, and they're going to see their roots, and then there's this guy who converted to Judaism. And he's like originally from Africa, and then there's this lady who's just like divorced and just going through that, and that's their little group. And so they head to Poland, and we hear a lot of Chopin played, which is interesting because I'll tell you that about that in bonus stuff. But so they go on these the tours that kind of show them. The shows them mostly Poland, but then they do go to a concentration camp and take a tour of that, and then they head out to their grandmother's house, which they've always wanted to see. And it's kind of it's a dramedy, I would say, a comedy. Hulu or Wikipedia says it's like a road trip comedy, which I guess you could say it like that. But so, and then Eisenberg's, his name is David, right? And Kieran Culkin is
Benji.
Benji with a B. Okay. And they're kind of totally different. They grew up together, I guess, in New York. And David's kind of more of the quiet, kind of like keep them traditional kind of guy, kind of like a typical millennial, I guess you would say. He's got like a family and he's got work. And Benji is totally opposite. He's like the extroverted kind of free spirit, and he's got no filter on him really. He just kind of says what you mean, or says what he's thinking at all times. And he's like more wild and up to, he just wants to live in the moment and stuff like that. So that is a fast recap of the movie and what we thought. I actually really like this movie. But I'm going to go to you guys and see what you guys thought. So we can start let's go with Thomas.
Me.
Yeah.
I really like this movie. I with Eisenberg, it's kind of weird. I think he's a bit of a one-note guy. He always has like that jittering, nervous dude. But since he wrote it, I felt like this was more like him, like actually him. So I was really comfortable with him kind of being a nervous guy because it seems like he's playing kind of himself. Culkin was pretty good. I did enjoy I guess the big scene is the dinner scene where they're talking about, you know, why him and Ben or David and Benji have like, different outlooks on life and how he wishes he was more like Benji, but at the same time, he can't stand him because he doesn't take any responsibility in his life. And yeah, it was very interesting. There's also some, some familial roots type stuff for me. My family is what that one guy says, like we're Mayflower Jews. I thought that was a really funny line. That's how my family actually came over, was in the 1900s. They came over from Russia. They didn't come from Poland, but which is weird because they're also Germans, but they went to they went to Russia, got exiled from Russia, and came to America. Big loop around. So there was uh, some personal stuff that I thought was pretty interesting. I've always wanted to go to um, like the big concentration camps and kind of pay my respects. I don't know how I'd handle it because it's supposed to be not um, not a good time. And so, yeah, I understand. Like, oh yeah, I know why you're going, but it kind of hits differently. I don't think I'd be bawling like Benji was uh, by the time I got to the car, but it hits you differently. Um, and to this day, it's very it's very hard to navigate that kind of thing, especially like with David. I kind of felt that part where he's talking to the African convert about Judaism. And he's like, "Do you do everything?" He's like, "Well, no, not everything. You can't do everything." I'm like, yeah, that's true. Unless you're like super Orthodox or Hasidic, there's no way you do everything. But I did like how he says, "You keep the Sabbath. I think you should do that." And he's like, "You mean like in general or me specifically?" He's like, "No, you specifically. I think you need it." And I've kind of like come to that fact, like with myself. I think I need to take, a day for myself, even if it's not Sabbath technically, or if it's Saturday or whatever. I need to take a day for myself. But I thought it was very good. I thought it was very interesting. So, let's do Michael.
Yeah, we watched the trailer for this one. I actually didn't remember. I don't feel like the trailer really led too much into what the movie entailed. It just kind of said, "Hey, these two are going on a trip together." It's like all I remembered from it, at least. But definitely, it was a movie I had on my radar from the first trailer, and yeah, we sadly missed it in theaters. But going into it, I was surprised at the kind of heavier nature of it. I thought it was going to be more of. I mean, it was kind of like a conflict of personalities with the two because, like you guys both said, like it's very much like Jesse Eisenberg's character is like and it kind of plays into that Sabbath thing too, where he's very much like distract himself with responsibility and work and not thinking about what is out there and like things bigger and beyond him because he doesn't want to handle that. Whereas Ben's character is very much like he's so overwhelmed by all of that, but he sees like the responsibility way of being just like blinding himself to it. Like he's like, I don't want to just conform to whatever this kind of idea is of just getting by because there's so much crap that he's just overwhelmed by all the crap, but he doesn't want to ignore all the crap. It's a very interesting dilemma. And I'm very much in Jesse Eisenberg's shoe, which I looked it up, and he apparently wrote this based on his kind of own family situation. And he actually wanted to play Benji. That was his initial plan, was I'm going to play Benji. And then he had someone else in the idea for that. But I can't remember if it was a producer or someone said, nah, you really should fit more into David's character, which I agree with. And I think Culkin did an amazing job. But yeah, that I'm very much in the whole movie. Like that line was so perfect where he said, like Thomas brought up, he's like, he's an amazing person. I sometimes want to be him, but I also really hate him and all this stuff. I'm like, I totally like was so perfectly encapsulated.
I want who that kill him.
Was. Yeah, 100%. Because like you start the movie off and you're like, oh, you kind of get where they're at character wise coming up, and he's kind of like that. So you, lack of a better word, mooching kind of person. Like he's, oh, I'm going to use this. I'm going to take a shower first. Kind of just a little self-absorbed and too focused on himself, thinking that, which is so strange. I feel like it goes in that kind of like over empathetic kind of character trait that people have whenever it's like they're so over empathetic to everything else, but they also feel like they're in place front in the other scenarios because that doesn't seem to mean as much. I don't know, but like the shower thing, he's like, Jesse Eisenberg just like, I'm gonna take a shower. He's like, oh yeah, do you mind if I take one first? He's like, sure, go ahead, I don't mind. It's just that weird little like step forward in the sense of putting him, I don't know.
Whose phone doesn't play music?
I know.
That was so weird.
I have no idea what that was about.
I'm like, I don't even know. Like it led to nothing. It was just like, oh yeah, my phone doesn't play music. I'm just like,
I think he might have just had a flip phone or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But then you see it, and it's a regular like smartphone. So I was like, I don't
I don't
I'm
know.
confused.
And you think he would have was looking at his stuff, but he really just plays music when he's in there. So
I don't know, but yeah. So that it caught me by surprise. The kind of depth to the character. I assumed it'd be more of like a buddy trip movie, like you were saying. The Wikipedia says, but it was definitely more emotional than that. But yeah, and then taking it reminded me a lot of the Trip movies with Steve
Coogan.
Coogan and Rob Brydon. Like it's not that comedic because they're doing voices in the whole time, but it has that kind of like that somber tone to it where it's just kind of
kind of later ones.
Yeah,
like the first one was really funny, and then the other one's kind of getting the.
I don't like the other two, to be honest with you. Like
they're not.
Yeah,
like
the second
two.
one. Yeah, the second one was great. Third one, okay.
But it has that kind of like step out of normal life and just that kind of experiencing something out of ordinary where you don't really want to go back, but you have to go back. And then just tears two people in different directions. I don't know. I very much enjoy that because there's not really any conclusion to this movie. There's no coming around point or anything like that. It's just like two people just kind of experiencing life, and then they have that big expressive moment at the end where they kind of just lay it all out, and they have that nice scene where they go to their grandma's house and place the rocks. But I'm like,
I would have thrown a rock at that old dude.
Well,
Like I don't give a crap.
like, just
He's
take
a
the rocks.
typical grumpy old man.
I was like, just put the rocks to the side then. You don't have to put them right in the middle. But I did like how he took it back and put on the step in his.
Yeah, I did
New
like
York. That was good.
yeah.
But yeah, very much
Kind of
enjoyed the
a
movie.
open-ended kind of ending too, because Kieran's at the airport.
Yeah, I
it was
really
cool.
liked his ending.
Yeah, it was. You say something?
So I did like. He's like, how long you been here? A few hours.
No.
Wait, what? He's like, oh, there's a lot of things to do here. I'm like, actually, as someone who got stranded at an airport, like there is a lot to do there.
I love people watching at the airport. I do go early and just like, huh.
That was a weird surprise because I had seen an interview with him. I think it was Graham Norton or something like that. But they were talking about no, it wasn't. It was a different interview. But anyway, it was an Instagram clip, and they were talking about what kind of person they were. If they were like the get there 45 minutes early, get there right as the plane's going, or get there a couple hours or to be safe. And I'm pretty sure Culkin was like, oh no, I just, I get there whenever it's time to go and it'll work out. And Jesse's like, oh my God, I hate this. I have to be there. I have to be ready. Because what if something goes wrong? He's just that panicky kind of person, which I didn't realize how bad, like his characters seem bad. Him in real life is just, it stresses me out, man. It's watching interviews. I'm like, dude, just breathe, please breathe. Cause he just seems so wound up. But yeah, so that did strike me as odd, is that the fact that he was there that early for that type of character, because you'd think that he'd be just kind of dragging, like they're late so many times to the group in the mornings because of him and what he does, not waking him up or letting him sleep on the train or whatever, all those weird scenarios. That did strike me as odd. So I'm curious what the intention was behind that. But anyway, the rest of the movie, characters, I like the interactions he has between them, the kind of that going back to Jesse Eisenberg character saying, I want to be him. It's like that kind of outward ability. He's like, you can talk to anyone. Like he's just going up to everyone and making conversation. He's like, wait, what are you doing? Why are you saying that? Why would you say that? And then they laugh, and you can see Jesse Eisenberg's character just like, oh, that works. Why does that work? I can't do that. It's the frustration. And it's so interesting. So I think they did a really, really good job with that. And then that just awkward, the couple turns where he does get angry, like the one where they're in first class, and then whenever they're at the graves, and he's just kind of teaching very uncouthly the tour guide about, hey, you need to have a little more meaning in what you're doing rather than just spitting facts. It was a good way to build tension to it. Man, it's just like that those kind of stuff just has me cringing the whole time. I'm like, gosh, it was very well done. So yeah, very, very, very much recommend this movie. I was going to watch his other, because I guess this is his second direct movie.
I want to see that one.
I added it to my list. It's on
Interesting.
Prime right now, so I'll probably watch it this week.
Which one is it?
It was
Thank you for saving the world or something like that.
Oh
With,
yeah, I remember the trailer.
With Finn Wolfhard.
yeah, and Julianne Moore.
When you finish saving the world.
When you
Yes.
finish saving.
So I just added that to my list. I was gonna watch it at work, but I got busy with other junk.
Did you know that was Jennifer Grey, by the way, that played that woman?
I don't know who Jennifer Grey is.
Dirty
The
Dancing.
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Dirty Dancing in a long, long time.
It's the greatest movie of all time, right?
It's dirty. And it's
She was
dancing.
also in Red Dawn, the original. I'm just
Oh.
saying.
I've seen that.
Wolverines!
Yes, which is also the greatest movie of all time.
Whoa.
So many
Also,
greatest movies.
Did anybody get the feeling that they were going to hook up, by the way? Or he was
No.
trying to?
No.
Yeah, I kind of.
Okay, see.
Yeah.
But
'Cause, like-
Joseph, we know Joseph has a dirty mind anyway, so based on what he's watched, apparently. So
Oh, the vampires.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
That was stupid Netflix, man.
and yet you still watched.
the whole season.
I saw it again this
No,
week, and I was
one
like, I should watch
episode.
that just for Joseph right there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think definitely a worthwhile movie.
Jared.
I really liked it. I kind of like these like comedy slash heavier dramas, kind of like 50-50, where like it's funny, but then it gets to a point where it's like super heavy. And in this one, I thought the acting was really good, especially Kieran when they're on the rooftop and he's like confronting them about
Mhm.
everything, and you can tell he's just like taking in that information because Jesse Eisenberg is telling him like, why would you do something like that? Because 6 months, like when the grandmother actually passed away, or before she passed away, he tried to he OD'd on pills, and so Jesse Eisenberg is holding all this like kind of like not resentment, but like these feelings of like, why would you do that? And so he's telling Kieran about that, and I feel like he acted that perfectly. Like when you do have to have that kind of conversation, and you're kind of emotional, you can't really talk about it, but you're kind of reacting to it, which he was doing like in that scene. So I felt that that was a really good scene. I really enjoyed that. And then like the dinner scene stressed me out because I was like, oh man, he's gonna come back and
I kept waiting for
be
that.
upset. Yeah. And a lot like that bear episode where like the family's fighting. I was just like, man, it's so uncomfortable. But I liked all the interactions in this movie. I don't know. Every time I see Kieran and something, I'm like, man, he's good, and I like him and stuff. And I thought Jesse did a good job too, especially like how you guys were saying, like he's the more introverted one, and like in the beginning of the trip, like Benji's like hanging out with the group, and he's kind of hanging back. He like has lunch by himself. Yeah. You're like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I also liked how like the hints of how much they actually do care about each other. Like Jesse lets him sleep a little longer that first day because he's like, oh man, he's tired and like he's like peaceful, so I'll get ready and just like let him sleep a little longer. But then Kieran's like, hey, why didn't you wake me up? We're gonna be late. And then later on the train, Kieran does the same thing where like Jesse's taking a nap and he lets him sleep a little longer because he looks peaceful and stuff like that. So you see like how they kind of care for each other, but it doesn't always like sometimes it's like conflicting at the same time. And that old man with the rocks, man, he was pissing me off. Like I was like, dude, just I know it's an old lady and like
an old lady lives there, man. She's gonna trip.
But like they could have handled that better.
That's what I'm saying. I would have thrown the rocks. Like, all right, cool, we're doing this.
And I know like Europeans are more like direct, like
yeah,
rude. Yes.
But I was like, man, they're just trying to like pay their respects to their grandmother and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I kind of want to see more of like these like comedy dramas because I like the switch from like comedy and then like when you get those super serious moments.
Yeah, kind of like the bear. It has a lot of comedy and then drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our mission for 2025. Jared has sit down, find comedy drama.
Ones.
That is one thing, though, I will say that I miss right now about Japan. I miss trains. Trains are awesome. Like,
dude, I was watching all those like that guy that goes on the different trains, like the Canada one, the Japanese one, and stuff like that. I was like, man, I want to go on a train.
Dude, screw planes. Trains are the best thing ever because there's no like. Okay, I don't get airsick, but I hate that pressure that you have because of the pressurized cabin, and it's the whole flight. You just feel like you just don't feel right. With the train, there's nothing like that. It's just whoosh, you're gone. It's awesome, and also the train seats are bigger. You can move up and down a lot easier. It's so much better. Trains are like the way to go. Screw planes. Like no planes. So
I like planes. I don't get that pressure thing, or I've never felt it, but
Yeah, if they
I,
weren't so expensive, I'd be flying
Yeah.
all the time, just
Yeah.
zipping around.
I am afraid of actually doing a cruise because I've been on a boat, but not
Yeah.
that long. So I wonder if I would be like,
I feel like cruise ships are so large, though. It's like
It's like a city
I don't know if the
flying.
effect would be as strong on those. Because like my uncle, who is terrible, like all the motion sickness and all the junk, he goes on cruises all the time. So I feel like it can't be that bad.
I don't
Cabins
like
look
the
small.
I don't like the idea of a cruise after 2020 and all those people being stuck on
Oh
cruise
yeah,
ships. I'm like,
forgot about that.
no, not
Yeah.
again.
So getting back to the movie, I think Jared, the two pivotal scenes are the ones Jared said was the dinner scene and then them on the roof. I think that made the whole movie because I wasn't too sure about it until it got to that dinner scene, and then it's just such a relatable scene because everyone knows people like that, especially people that like they're so like disrespectful, but they get away with everything. Like they'll be disrespectful right to people's faces, and then people just love them for it, and it's like how do you deal with people like that? So it's so relatable. Um, and Kieran Culkin, he's a little bit like his Succession character, like maybe not as up to 100 as that character is, but he's around there. And he really deals with a lot, his character, actually, because, like Jared said, he had that incident. And I like that scene because, like, Jesse Eisenberg, he doesn't say it, but he's like kind of implies it. It's like, yeah, how can you be so selfish to do that to like me? You don't know how that affects me. When you do something like that.
Well, even
And
like the line he had, there were a couple that were really good, but the one where he was talking about going throughout all the places they had been seeing, he's like, how do these people who fought through all this stuff and struggled so much, how is that what came out of it? Like, how do
yeah,
you think like that whenever these people did that? Like, that was such a heavy line.
yeah, like our grandma,
Mhm.
barely he brings up they had a million miracles to make it to
Yeah.
this point. And yeah, that was really good. And then his reaction was just like he sits there playing piano just to like get people's attention, people get people on his side again. It's just like so frustrating with Jesse Eisenberg. And yeah, and like I said, I love the ending for Kieran Culkin's character because it doesn't seem like he resolved anything by going on this trip or anything. It just like he still has no direction. And it's like a perfect symbol to airport. He could go anywhere, but he doesn't know which way to go. Um, so I really like that ending scene. And it was just those two scenes, man, made the whole movie, and it was just like it made it from an okay movie to like a great movie. So
for some levity, I did like when he's like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" He's like, "Oh, I
oh,
hate those banners, those ad banners."
Oh,
He's like, "Oh, I hate
I
those. Those are
hate those.
terrible."
People don't like that. No one likes those.
I like the part where where he falls asleep on the train. He's like, "Oh, so where are we at?" I was like, well, I got some bad news for you. We're past it."
It's just
What?
like-
Why? He's like, "Oh, you just look so nice. You look so peaceful."
Why did they wait so long for them with their back?
That's what I was worrying. I thought the rest of the movie was going to be them going off to
Yeah.
other things, but they like
Yeah.
They were a very patient group.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's multiple times where I thought, "Oh, they're gonna separate from the group
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, they're all an adventure."
All right. So if you guys have seen this movie, if you haven't, go check it out because it's really good. We recommend it. But if you have, tell us what you thought of it. And like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff. And we will catch you next time. Bye.